Randy Orton. Where is he? Bray Wyatt and Ric Flair released from the WWE, our match of the night, and more. Let's do it. Yeah. Oh. What's up? Simon Brothers in full effect.
Boom.
Doing the thing. Welcome everybody to the show. Thank you for joining us. Shout out to the members. Seeing a lot of members in the chat already.
Oh, yeah.
Angelo Contagonis. Shout out to you. Franco316. Doug Hepburn. Don't forget, hey, Brian Firth is in the chat as well. Become a member. Join the team. Support the Ringside Report Network. We are bringing you shows like this all of the time. After Raw, after SmackDown, after AEW Dynamite. We are here for you, and we are here tonight, Monday Night Raw. Jason Pete in the chat as well. Shout out to Jason, all the way out in Mexico. Beautiful Mexico.
Buenas noches.
Member of the team, Jason. Raw. A lot happened. I thought we saw some good wrestling tonight. A couple really good matches. Not everything was great, but I thought that the Rhea Ripley, Nia Jax match, right off the bat, I want to give props to 4 women that just worked their asses off tonight. Rhea Ripley, Nia Jax, that match was fantastic. And also the main event tonight of Charlotte Flair and Nikki A.S.H., Nikki A.S.H., Nikki Cross, whatever you want to call her. Her and Charlotte had a kick-ass match tonight in the main event. Charlotte Flair power bombing Nikki Cross through that announce table was absolutely vicious. A nasty power bomb with tremendous velocity. She whipped her through that thing. Nikki Cross sold it like she was dead. Fantastic moment in that match. Charlotte spearing Nikki through a barricade as well, looking pretty rough. Nikki A.S.H. winds up winning the match with a twisting hangman DDT type of move on Charlotte and pitting her clean in the middle of the ring to close out Monday Night Raw. I don't know about you, but that was my match of the night. I thought that match was fantastic. The Rhea-Nia match was very good as well. Let us know what your match of the night was if you watched Raw. I know a lot of people don't watch Raw. They just watch us to know what happened. But I'll tell you, tonight we saw some really good matches. That Nikki A.S.H. versus Charlotte Flair match was very, very good. Pay-per-view quality match. Charlotte Flair showing why she is one of the top stars in the world, in the history of professional wrestling at this point. She's a main eventer. She is the main event of Raw. She's the top star in the WWE as far as I'm concerned. And she just elevates everybody that she's with. Tremendous match tonight with Nikki A.S.H. Charlotte Flair on the microphone in the ring. There's nobody better right now, nobody hotter right now than Charlotte Flair. I don't think anybody has more momentum than Charlotte. Is there anybody that's more on fire right now than Charlotte Flair?
Charlotte Flair just seems just on the top of her game. She's just on fire, firing all cylinders. Even like the small talk she does, when she's taunting Nikki, is just on point. It's good. It feels fresh. It's a toss-up between those two matches, but Charlotte and Nikki had the far better finish. I got to agree with you. That's my match of the night as well.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really think about it. Yeah, it was definitely a pay-per-view caliber match. Like, if that was on pay-per-view, we'd be thinking of that as the match of the night on the pay-per-view. Long, but didn't feel too drawn out. Great spots. The barricade spot, Nikki landed that one on the back of her head pretty rough.
Yeah.
And then she took that powerbomb spot right after Nikki A.S.H., whatever you want to call her.
Nikki A.S.H.
She just she really thrives in these kinds of matches. She brings the violence. She takes some nasty bumps, but. And Charlotte tells fantastic stories. She's really good at it.
She's really good at being evil. She's really good at telling that story of just beating somebody down. And Nikki she can sell, man.
Yeah.
Nikki really is a very sympathetic babyface. She was very sympathetic tonight. The promos, the gimmick, and I know a lot of people have a problem with it. I don't really like it either, this almost a superhero thing. I don't know what was wrong with Nikki Cross. I think you just could have kept her like that and giving her similar type promos, but a little less over the top with the superhero stuff. I don't know why they had to go in that direction. But the end result is Nikki Cross in these main events, which is where she should have been for a long time. She was talking about, or she was asked before the match, has she ever been in a match this intense? It was a no-holds-barred match with Charlotte Flair. Has she ever been in something like this? And she's like, no, but I will try my best, and hopefully I'll do all right. And it's like, well, I saw you wrestle like 4 years ago in NXT against Asuka in a last woman standing match that was actually far more brutal than this one. So it's just annoying as a viewer to watch a character forget their own history. So that, just embrace who you are. You're Nikki Cross and you're a badass, and yeah, you're a little bit smaller, but this gimmick isn't the best, but in this role she's working very well. She's in the ring, it's great. It's just when she starts talking those promos, it's like and the get up too, it's when Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair... Yeah, the thing around her eyes, the cape, When Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair are coming out as her opponents and they have a very serious presentation, Charlotte Flair comes out like a female Ric Flair with the robe and, all the glitz and glamour, and she seems like a world champion every time she steps out there. Rhea Ripley's big and strong, and she's got the leather and the tattoos and everything, and she's intimidating. And then Nikki Cross comes out, and she's like this weird superhero. It doesn't match, and she's smaller than them, so it's hard to get behind her and believe her. But then once the bell rings, it's a different story. Like, she can wrestle her ass off. She's fantastic. She always has been. They just never really gave her a shot. It's just disappointing that when they give her a shot, it's with this weird gimmick,
Yeah, she could definitely pull off like a Rhea kind of gimmick too, the brutality and all that. Like, she could probably roll with that too if she wanted, if they gave her that kind of spot. She could pull that off, that kind of badass. But I mean, it's a Bayley type role. Her colors of her costume kind of remind me of Bayley. Like, although there's something about it that just seems just a bit more cartoonish and a little less believable than like Bayley's get up. Like, that's what, when I watch Nikki, I try to like think of it like Bayley, but like it's hard. And also Bayley as a babyface wore thin after a while. Yeah,
and they add this like superhero gimmick to it
too. The promos they're writing for her do her absolutely no favors.
Yeah,
just that like, if you try, you could, like, it seems like someone that they just bring out to get beaten up. Like, that's like the kind of promos. It's just like, just to point a big finger and like laugh at them.
It's trying to be super inspirational to kids, and it's not.
It just doesn't work.
I don't know, but in the ring she had a great match with Charlotte Flair. A little weird that she won, though. Surprised that she won?
She had to. I mean...
Did she?
Yeah.
She's going to win at SummerSlam. Like, she can't lose at SummerSlam, and that's not too far away. SummerSlam is, 2 weeks away now? We got 2 more episodes of Raw before SummerSlam.
But if she gets, like, absolutely no over in any way, it really strains the credulity. Like, and it would wear thin on us. I think she really needed this win. Charlotte could definitely take it, especially, she could say, I only lost because, I missed my spear into the table, like, it was my fault, it wasn't you won, I lost, she could make that kind of argument.
Yeah.
But, I think Nikki needed this win.
I guess.
Because
I don't know.
Promos.
Just beating Charlotte Flair clean here. What happens then at SummerSlam? Does she beat her again?
Well, she's got Rhea Ripley to tangle with also.
I guess.
Maybe they should, like, Rhea's not really involved in this feud at all. She's like, both weeks, it's been Charlotte versus Nikki and Rhea watching on TV. She doesn't come out. She doesn't get involved. She doesn't attack anybody.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's very strange.
Rhea had a great match, though, too, tonight.
Yeah.
Her and Nia Jax, tremendous match. Nia Jax got busted open. I think it was Rhea on a punch. I think it was her bracelet maybe that cut Nia on the cheek. Or maybe on the eye. There was a lot of blood flowing from the side of Nia's face there. It was pretty intense, and the match was really, really good. Rhea Ripley winds up beating Nia Jax by pinfall after she rolls her up. Nia got a bit distracted by Shayna. It was more Rhea that got distracted by Shayna, and then Nia kind of got distracted by Rhea getting distracted by Shayna, right?
Yeah, it was just a really poorly timed spot. Like, it's just a thing where, like, Shayna grabs Rhea's foot.
And then Rhea looks...
Yeah, like she's going to get stuck, and she's supposed to dodge at the very last second. So, but like, Shayna wasn't on the apron. She was, like, on the ground.
Yeah.
So there was no, like, Nia running into Shayna spot either.
And also, when Nia started her run into Rhea, Rhea had already moved to dodge Nia. Rhea dodged an attack that wasn't yet on her way. Mm-hmm. Like, Nia wasn't even coming at her when Rhea dodged out of the way. So Nia kind of runs, grabs the rope, and stands there for a second, and then she gets rolled up. The finish was poorly executed, but the rest of the match was actually quite good. Nia took some good little bumps there. She bumped her hip into the ring post off the apron, and it looked pretty rough. Some good stuff there from Nia Jax and Rhea Ripley tonight. Nia was going hard because she knows, like, she's got to fight for a spot. There's a lot of women that are trying to fight for their spots right now, and it's making for a very interesting division on Raw. The SmackDown division is less interesting because they know it's like Bianca and Sasha, and it's them. You know, like, SmackDown is those two, and nobody else really has a chance. But Nia Jax is in the mix. Shayna, you know, they're going to break up, and they're going to be in the mix for the women's championship. You got Nikki Cross, who's the champion. You got Charlotte Flair, who's always there. You got Rhea Ripley, who's there. And they're all kind of fighting for a position right now, which makes the division very interesting. There's real competition in the Raw women's division to be the number one. And that's what you want in pro wrestling. You want people wrestling for their spots. And they are all fighting for their spot right now, and it's making the division super hot. The men's division, you know, like, there is no spot. Like, Bobby's got the title now. Drew had it before. It's not like you're going to take it off of Bobby by working really hard.
Because Goldberg's
going to wrestle Bobby at SummerSlam. Like, the big spots you can't even fight for because they're not going to be given to you. Roman's going to wrestle Cena, who shows up once in a while. And, I mean, even Roman, if you're a guy on SmackDown, how far can you really climb? You're never going to take the spot from Roman. But right now, it seems like Charlotte Flair's spot is up for grabs. And Rhea Ripley could try and take it. Nikki Cross could try and take it. Nia Jax could try and steal it from somewhere. You know, Shayna could come in and take it for a bit. But Charlotte looks like she is fighting her ass off to keep that number one spot on Raw. And it's compelling television. She's fun to watch.
The best art is made in those situations when you have a lot of great artists around and they're competitive with each other.
It's like Stone Cold and The Rock and Triple H and Mick Foley and Undertaker all around at the same time fighting for the spot. It's what it's supposed to be. The women's division has got it right. They really have it right now. It's very good.
Rhea and Nia setting the tone at the beginning of the night. You could feel that match in the main event.
Yes.
You could feel Charlotte and Nikki going like, we need to fucking top this.
Yes. And that's what's really cool about Rhea Ripley being there now. Like, she's making people step their game up. Before, like, if Rhea Ripley isn't there, Nia's wrestling, you know, Tamina, and it's, you know. But instead, Rhea's there, and it's like, okay, now Charlotte's in the main event against Nikki Cross, and they have to deliver. And they did.
Yeah.
They topped a great match. They topped a match that I didn't think was going to be topped with Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax. I didn't think that Nikki and Charlotte would beat it, but they did. And then, 2 great matches tonight.
And then the winner the audience.
Yeah, we win. I mean, we had to sit through a lot of other stuff that wasn't so good.
That Damian Priest stuff just took way too long.
Damian Priest stuff, Goldberg threatening to kill Bobby Lashley.
Oh, yeah.
Goldberg's son being there for some reason. I really wanted Bobby Lashley to just beat the hell out of Goldberg's son, but that didn't happen. Raw was not great tonight. We should talk about Bray Wyatt and everything going on there. The fact that Randy Orton wasn't on Raw makes me suspicious. Is Randy getting released?
Is this a big salary purge? You know,
I mean,
they're buying out contracts.
So Bray Wyatt got released. Released from WWE, he is gone. Apparently, the word is, I think Fightful put out a report saying that it was due to budget cuts. They're cutting costs, so they cut Bray Wyatt, which I don't fully believe. Bray Wyatt has been gone since WrestleMania. It was strange that he lost the match to Randy. It seemed like he should have won, but he lost. Alexa Bliss kind of turned on him in that match, took over his gimmick. He cuts a Firefly Funhouse promo the next night, never seen again. Now released. It's very suspicious. Whatever's going on with Bray Wyatt, I don't fully believe. Super chat. There's a super chat. Thank you, Patrick. Patrick says, I love how much women's wrestling has begun tonight's show as a positive. Yes. Women's wrestling is the best part of WWE by far.
Oh, yeah.
By far. Women's wrestling is because there's real competition. Like,
tons of talent.
So much talent. And now more than ever, the talent is really apparent. By the way, all those fans chanting for Becky Lynch, I think the Wrestling Observer is reporting that she's not going to be back till like October. So there's going to be a draft in October, and that's when Becky's coming back. So, hold off on the Becky chance. There's no point.
Take it easy.
But, yeah, the women in professional wrestling right now, especially in the WWE, there's actual competition in those divisions. The men's division seem like everything's a foregone conclusion. You know what I mean? Like, what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, well, they'll never give it to this guy because they don't like this guy enough. But with the women, it's like, oh, shit, they gave it to Nikki Cross? No one thought she was going to win Money in the Bank. She wins Money in the Bank, and now she's the champion, and she's main eventing Raw, and she's having kick-ass matches. Like, what? Where did this come from? That doesn't happen with the male talent. Although Big E did win Money in the Bank, so who knows what might happen with him, but it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Right? It's more exciting. The women's division is far more exciting. So, yes, it's much more positive. That stuff, when they have two great matches on the show, too, I mean, it doesn't hurt when they have two really good wrestling matches. The rest of Raw, we'll get into, was not that great. Like, we're being very positive because we had two great matches and the main event delivered. The main event delivering is very important. Like, you have to close the show with a good match, and they did that. They're in Chicago tonight, by the way. It's a serious wrestling crowd. They got to show up for them, right?
Yes.
So Bray Wyatt got released, okay? Bray Wyatt is released.
Big news.
And I don't know what to make of it. The word is cost-cutting. The guy probably had a big contract with WWE, and maybe they decided he wasn't worth it. Maybe they decided they got as much as they were going to get from Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. He was just sitting at home. I think it was his choice to be off the road and not really working. I think it was...
Yeah, but there was talk that might have been like a possible mental health thing going on with Bray Wyatt. Like, I don't know. I can't really comment on that, but there were reports out there about Bray Wyatt possibly dealing with something. I mean, mental health is a wide spectrum. It could be a wide variety of things that Bray Wyatt has to deal with that you might expect. Could be a burnout from just being on wrestling, and it might not even be that. It might be like, hey, my back really hurts. I'd like to take some time off, and WWE is saying, well, I don't know.
But he is afforded that luxury. Like a lot of wrestlers, I'm sure, are feeling pretty burnt out.
Of course.
But Bray, he's always kind of had a bit of a stroke within the company. He's always kind of had that feeling of just like, you feel him backstage going, hey, can I do this? And they're just like, yeah, sure. Like, you want to take... Because, like, he's taken a lot of time off, Bray Wyatt. There's been a lot of times where he just, like, disappears for, like, 3 to, like, 6, and he comes back. Like, it just feels like, because he's IRS's kid, he could just take a break, and it's paid, and he's welcome back. Like my catchphrase, Bray Wyatt's everything that's wrong with America.
Well... I wouldn't go that far, but I would say that...
But that kind of thing, like that kind of... Like, that's what it kind of felt like.
He was always figured into the plans creatively.
Mm-hmm.
He was always given a spot. This is a guy who was probably given a very lucrative contract with WWE. and got to wrestle John Cena, Randy Orton, and The Undertaker at WrestleManias.
And involved in a program with The Rock at that Mania, and just every program,
it was
huge. He had a promo. His matches went long. He got over.
Sure, but that doesn't mean that he can't be frustrated with what they're doing with him creatively, because as we've seen, it hasn't been that good.
No,
it hasn't been that good. But here's the thing. A lot of people seem to be fans of Bray Wyatt. A lot of people seem to like what he does. I never liked what he did. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be a fan of Bray Wyatt's work. I'm not. I never liked anything he did. I didn't like The Fiend, Firefly Funhouse, the Wyatt family.
House of Horrors.
I never liked any of those promos, and I never thought that any of his matches were particularly interesting.
And his promos apparently were him, like that kind of creative. Like a lot of like he would write it and like came up with it and like wowed Triple H so much. So like in those promos, the "you don't know me, man," like that was like his best effort. That was what he, like. It wasn't someone giving him a script so much as him being like he probably had the input, which very few wrestlers get.
He did have a lot of input. He did have a lot of input on his creative direction, and you know he did.
Nobody gets that.
He did have his fans though. We can't forget that he did have his fans. Franco316 on the chat saying The Fiend was good. He liked The Fiend. Angelo Contagonis, by the way, is the new super chat leader. He says they should start every show with a women's match. I agree 110%, Angelo. I think that they should start every show with a women's match and end every show with a women's match. I mean, most Raws and SmackDowns should probably close with a women's match. Raw these days, maybe not SmackDown, because the women's division is basically Bianca Belair. It's not a super deep division on SmackDown. But on Raw, it's getting very, very interesting. So, yeah, I think a lot of women's wrestling on Raw is the key right now to having a good Raw. See, Doug Hepburn saying Wyatt family was good. He had his fans. I just never liked it. It was never for me. I never enjoyed the promos. I was never entertained.
It's very half-baked.
Yeah.
Just like just a hodgepodge of things that never meant, you know, the Sister Abigail and he's got the whole world in his hands song and
nothing. It was
the
just
buzzards and the.
It was just a lot of like things thrown at the wall with no real cohesion about it. There was no cohesiveness. You didn't really understand what anything really meant or was supposed to be, and it was never explained to you, and it never had a clear ending, you know, and it was just a lot of kind of...
Remember when Bray dressed up as Sister Abigail and, like, changed his voice? And it was like, for a week?
There wasn't a lot of follow-through, and that's probably WWE's fault for a large part, but... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you see him in AEW, if the promos will be that much better. So he's gone. I'm not really sure why. If it is cost-cutting, I'm not going to be a guy that's going to sit here and disagree with WWE for cutting him. If they feel that they have nothing left for him, I get it. That there's nothing I really want to see him do in WWE anymore. He might be more interesting in AEW. You know, he might be a more interesting character. They have a different roster there. He could play with different people that he hasn't been wrestling for the past however many years. Maybe he'll be better in AEW. I don't want him to be the leader of the Dark Order. I think he'd ruin the Dark Order. I love the Dark Order the way they are. Don't change them at all. Don't try to bring Bray Wyatt into it. But I'm kind of done watching him on TV, too. I don't really have any... You know, and if he's costing a lot of money to the WWE, I understand why they let him go. It is a business. It's capitalism. It's the way it works. They have shareholders that they have to continuously show a profit to. So, you know, don't blame the WWE. Blame capitalism. That's the system that they live under, right? They have shareholders. They got to keep showing a profit. And how do big companies continue to show profit?
Every quarter.
They fire people.
Have to grow every quarter.
They fire people. It's what they do. So don't be surprised that Bray Wyatt got released. Don't be surprised that Braun Strowman got released. I think WWE came to a point with both of those guys where they thought, okay, we've done this thing for a while with them. They haven't lit the business on fire. They have fans, but are they bringing in as much as we are paying them? Are people really buying tickets to watch these guys? And I think the WWE is figuring out, like, nobody is really drawing money for them. No individual is actually drawing money. It's the WWE brand as a whole that's drawing money, and they could keep churning out guys and bringing them up from NXT or wherever, as long as they have the odd superstar that's here every once in a while. They don't really have to pay guys like Bray Wyatt or Braun Strowman millions of dollars a year. So don't be surprised if more guys get fired, because it's not any one individual that's putting asses in seats. The only draw right now in WWE is John Cena. The only guy that's actually selling tickets for you is John Cena. He's the only star that they have, and they just brought him back.
And he'll probably be gone by this time in 2 months.
Nobody knows who any of these guys are. When people buy tickets to WWE, they're buying tickets to see Monday Night Raw. They're not buying tickets to see Drew McIntyre. Nobody's buying a ticket and being like, I need to see Drew McIntyre tonight. The only reason I'm going is to see Drew McIntyre. I used to buy tickets to see WWE because I wanted to see Daniel Bryan wrestle.
Or The Rock.
Or whoever. But now, like, there is no one draw in WWE. There are stars, but I don't think there's anybody that they need that they can't do without. Like CM Punk said, he's just a cog in the machine, and that machine is going to keep turning long after he's gone, and it is. And you look at Randy Orton, who was not on the show tonight, and you start to wonder. Randy Orton is a guy who's been there, done that in WWE, made a ton of money, and is still making a ton of money. A ton of money.
Probably like since they stopped paying Cena regularly, maybe like the highest paid Randy.
He was advertised for the show tonight in Chicago. He was advertised locally to be appearing on Raw. The two stars, the two guys that they advertised as WWE coming to your town, Goldberg and Randy Orton will be there. Goldberg was there. Randy was not.
And it felt like he was, like Matt Riddle said in a promo, voices in his head, like making a little like wink wink reference. But no, it was very surprising.
And then
no AJ either.
There was no AJ Styles, I think, because there was no Randy Orton. So Omos and Riddle have a match.
That makes sense.
So they announced this, and you think, okay, last week when Riddle was getting beat up by Omos and AJ Styles, the crowd was chanting for Randy Orton. So this week you figure, okay, Omos versus Riddle. We're 2 Raws away now from SummerSlam. Omos and AJ are the tag team champions, right? So Omos versus Riddle, you think, okay, well, AJ Styles is going to come and beat up Riddle with Omos, and then Riddle's tag team partner, Randy Orton, who hasn't been seen for like a month and a half, is going to come and make the save for his partner.
Big pop.
Randy Orton has been missing in action for some unknown reason. No one knows why. There's been no report as to what exactly is going on with Randy or why he's not around. So Randy Orton, mysteriously gone. This seemed like a spot tailor-made for Randy. I was certain that Randy was going to come back tonight on Raw. Yeah. It's 3 weeks from SummerSlam, man. This is the setup, right?
Yeah, when like the segment ended, we were just like, wait, what?
No Randy. So Omos just squashes Riddle.
Squashed him.
Beat the shit out of him.
Stiff.
Choke bombs him, does the whole thing. 1, 2, 3, middle of the ring, beats him. Riddle got like no offense.
No, it was... Yeah.
Which is weird because you think...
You got a promo earlier. He gets a promo every week, You think they'd give him something to like... But no, Omos just... He doesn't sell.
It really felt before Money in the Bank, it felt like they were going to pull the trigger on Riddle and give him Money in the Bank, and we were going to see this guy become a star, and he was ready for it. Since Money in the Bank, it's all fallen apart, and it's because Randy's been gone. You thought that they were going to do this whole thing, RK Bro, it had momentum, and then
There's
Randy...
still signs in the audience. There's tons of them in the audience.
He disappeared.
Yeah.
And he was advertised for the show tonight, and he wasn't on the show. Cut Randy. I am advocating for the WWE to fire Randy Orton. Because Is he worth it anymore? Is anybody worth it? Any of these big ticket stars, like, are they worth it for you?
Like, if we find out Randy Orton is getting paid, like, say, like $6 million a year, just as a number.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
I mean, I don't think it's that much. I don't think it's that much.
4?
I doubt it. It's probably 1 or 2. Maybe more. Probably more than that, though. Maybe 3 or 4.
He's been there for a while. He's got the bus money.
Well, that's it. He's been there for a while.
They love him, you know, like, but...
At a certain point...
You know?
He's over 40. The Bray Wyatt thing is more confusing to me because he's 34. And they've pushed him like crazy. You would think, like, this is the time to cash in on your investment of Bray Wyatt. He's 34. Over the next 4 years, you could do so much with this guy. You've already ingrained him in your storylines in so many ways. He's like one of the only guys that you could bring back to face against Roman Reigns and be believable to possibly beat him because of the way you've built Bray Wyatt over the past few years. We know he's one of your guys, and then he's just fired. It's like, what?
Yeah.
That's weird. He's 34 years old. It doesn't seem like the time to release him. I'm not worried about the guy. He'll be fine. If he wants to wrestle, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. But it's just odd that the WWE would pull the plug on this investment at this point. I would be less surprised to see them fire Randy Orton. I don't know if he's going to get fired, but like at this point, anything is possible. Anything is possible. The fact that Orton wasn't on the show tonight is very strange.
Yeah. And it's weird with Bray because like it felt like the Alexa storyline keeping the same kind of aesthetic was meant to like serve as like, well, when Bray comes back, you know, they'll be together or do something. But that never really happened. And like I remember when Vince was on the Stone Cold podcast and Stone Cold's like, who do you see as like the future? And Vince very without thinking said the Shield and Bray. Like he had him pegged.
Yeah.
You know, and like you were talking about on your show, when you're the guy, nothing stops you because you're the guy. So
he was one of their guys. He was making money. He was one of their top stars. It's really shocking that they would let Bray Wyatt go. It's strange. There's more to the story than we know. I need the Bray Wyatt shoot interview podcast. Like, where is that? Yeah. Somebody get Jericho. Can you call your guy Bray Wyatt and do the whole story so we know what's going on? Somebody. Angelo dropping some facts. He says Orton is earning just north of $1 million, $2.7 million, including pay-per-view, merch, and royalties and stuff. Apparently, that makes sense. Around $3 million, just under $3 million. That makes sense for Randy, but that's a lot of money. And like, if they want to cut him, the thing is though, you're just handing over all these guys to AEW, just handing them over and over. So much talent, but can AEW really? Are they trying?
Is there a spot for Randy?
Are they trying to drown them in talent and just be like, look, you can't possibly. You're gonna pick these guys up, but you can't afford their salaries, and it's gonna put you under with all the contracts. Yeah,
you're gonna have creative control and all that.
I don't know.
And they'll be like Roddy Piper just sitting around in WCW like those days. I don't know.
Super chat. It's very interesting that Randy wasn't on the show tonight. I find it strange. Harold Schneider says, speaking of Orton, there's not much change in his character since many years. I agree, Harold.
Yeah.
He's been basically the same.
Since like 2009. It's just been the Viper. It was like Legacy around then.
Yeah. Doug Hepburn says he's going for the Super Chat bronze medal. Yeah, you are third in the Super Chat now with that, Doug. Thank you. Angelo is still in the lead. Patrick C. Hamilton dropping Super Chats. Appreciate you guys dropping Super Chats. Don't forget, you drop your Super Chat if you have a comment or question you want us to read, you want us to get to. I know Brian Firth wanted an update on the Veer Venis shirts. I have a sketch that I don't think you'll be able to see here. There's that's a Veer Venis sketch that I made for the shirt, for the logo, so we're working on it.
It's pretty good.
Work in progress. You saw my sketch for Veer Venis. Veer Venis wrestled tonight.
Got squashed.
Got squashed by Drew McIntyre. Veer and Shanky. Shanky was back. Justice for Shanky.
Little Shanky Panky.
Veer Venis and Shanky Shanky Wanky.
Shanky Wanky? I said Shanky Panky. Like Hanky Panky.
Wanky Shanky and Veer Venis.
Shanky.
I mean,
yeah.
that's a pretty good duo. Wanky Shanky and Veer Venis are like
they would be so over
friends.
in the UK. A character named Wank in the UK.
Wanky Shanky
would get a monster pop.
Shanky the Wanky. Wanky Shanky. I can hear the songs, you know? Oh, Wanky Shanky. Oh.
Wanky Shanky.
Yeah. People would love Wanky Shanky and Veer Venis wrestled Drew McIntyre tonight. They lost by disqualification.
What Wanky Shanky does.
Jinder Mahal.
What's his finish?
Wanky Shanky? I don't know. The golden balls. The
what?
What's the Goldust thing? Where
Golden Globes?
Golden Globes. We kick people in the balls. That thing.
Or Shattered Dreams.
Whatever.
Might call them both.
So Jinder Mahal attacked with Drew with a steel chair. So there was disqualification. 2-on-1 match. Veer and Shanky still lost by DQ. And then they all got chairs. Veer, Shanky, and Jinder. Jinder is now like the least interesting guy of that trio.
Yeah.
Veer Venis and Wanky Shanky are like my guys now. I don't give a shit about Jinder. Yeah. I just want to see Veer Venis and Wanky Shanky. So they all got chairs. Wanky, Veer, and their buddy there. And then Drew got his sword, and then he whacked Jinder's chair away with a sword, and then he headbutted Veer Venis, and then Wanky Shanky just got scared of the sword and ran away. And then Drew did an interview backstage, and he told us that his sword's name is Angela, but I think he should call it Angelo. Name it after our main man, Angelo Catagonis, Super Chat Leader of the Night. Don't you think Drew should name his sword Angelo instead? I think that'd be pretty good. Angelo, if I had a sword, man, I'd name it after you, all right? Drew named his thing Angela. If I had a sword, I don't have any swords, but if I did, I'd name it Angelo. And I'd hit people with chairs. If anybody came at me with a steel chair, I would whack them with my sword.
Sword's pretty heavy.
All right. So that was stupid. I didn't like that. I liked Veer Venis and Shanky Wanky, but the rest of it was a little... MVP and Roberto Lashley cut a promo to start the show. This was not good. Talking about Goldberg and how they're going to beat Goldberg at SummerSlam and how they don't like Goldberg. The crowd was weird for this. When MVP first mentioned Goldberg, crowd boos him. And then as MVP kept talking, they got bored and they started chanting Goldberg. I think they were just bored of MVP just going on and on, so they were just like, Goldberg. Because they're just like, can Goldberg come out already so we can get this shit over with? And then Goldberg came out, and then he got booed. There was some Goldberg chants. There was also a lot of boos for Goldberg, right? That was pretty good. And then Goldberg said some shit about living by the spear, and Bobby's going to die.
This is Chicago.
He's like, Chicago, I live by the spear, and you're going to die by the spear, and you're scared of me, Bobby Lashley, and then you're next. You're next, Bobby. And then Goldberg leaves, and then Bobby Lashley stares down Goldberg's son, who's like in the front row, which is a little weird, like, why'd you leave your son alone with these two goons, Goldberg?
It's irresponsible parenting.
Yeah, Bobby just stared him down, didn't do anything. And then MVP told Goldberg's son that Bobby was going to end his dad's career. And then Goldberg came back and he speared MVP. And he says to Bobby Lashley, if you go near my son again, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you, Bobby Lashley. And that was pretty crazy. Goldberg threatened Bobby Lashley with death like 2 or 3 times in that promo. Not something you ordinarily see in the WWE. Fuck all this. Fuck Goldberg so much. I hate this so much. It was so bad. Fuck Goldberg.
He's the worst.
He was terrible. He's awful.
They're trying so hard to just, keep him over, like MVP saying his career is going to end it. He's fucking, what is he, 54?
His career should be over.
Yeah, like it should be long over.
My son was really booing Goldberg, too. He hated Goldberg. My son hates Goldberg.
Nuclear heat.
He's 4 years old. There's nobody he hates more than Goldberg. I guess I may have rubbed off on him a little bit, but, like, he fucking hates Goldberg.
Yeah, like, sometimes he'll disagree with you.
Yeah,
like, he'll be like, he likes Drew McIntyre, and, like, you'll say, I don't like Drew. He's like, no, I like Drew. Or,
he liked The Fiend a lot.
Yeah, he loved The Fiend.
Yeah, but he hates Goldberg so much. Goldberg's not over with anybody. 4-year-olds or above. 4 and up, everybody hates Goldberg.
That's enough.
Doug says Goldberg really sucked tonight. Angelo says there were also faint CM Punk chants during the segment. Yeah, CM Punk chants during the show tonight because, AEW is going to be in Chicago for Rampage on the 20th.
Sold out.
And it's sold out in like 10 minutes today, and they're supposed to bring CM Punk. So when you're sitting there at Raw and you're a wrestling fan and you might have tickets for AEW Rampage and they're giving you fucking Goldberg and you're waiting because in a couple weeks you get to see CM Punk in your hometown make his big return to AEW on a great wrestling show, I can understand why you might chant CM Punk just to stick it to the WWE. Vince McMahon telling you that AEW isn't competition. If you're a wrestling fan in Chicago, it's fucking competition because this month you can see both. And on one show, you buy a ticket, you're going to see Goldberg. On the other show, you're going to see CM Punk, Kenny Omega, and whoever knows. Who knows?
Hangman.
Hangman.
Johnny Hungy, Jungle Boy, all the J's.
So, of course, Punk's hometown crowd was rooting for him because there's so much buzz around Punk. And apparently he's going to come back later this month in front of them for AEW. So, yeah, stick it to the WWE because they're not giving you the big stars. They're not bringing in. The stars of WWE bring in Goldberg and John Cena. The stars at AEW supposedly are bringing in Bryan Danielson, CM Punk. They already brought you Christian. They got you, like, cool guys that you like to see. Ric Flair asked for his release. It's only a matter of time before he shows up in AEW. Why do you think the Nature Boy asked for his release, right?
Yeah, like, what's up with that? Like, think he'll manage Andrade?
That would make sense, but Andrade seems to have, like, 6 different managers. He was managed by Vicky Guerrero. Yeah. Then he's got some other guy. Now Chavo's his manager. Andrade has too many managers, but Ric Flair would make sense. But maybe something with Tully or Arn, too.
Yeah.
Because they're both there, so.
Could be something.
I mean, if Tully and Arn are there, it only makes sense. Flair asked for his release. They gave him his release because they're not doing anything with him, so why not?
So what will happen with that Lacey Evans storyline?
Yeah, who cares? It's over.
Whenever she comes back.
Flair did interviews. He didn't like doing that stuff anyway.
No,
so
sure.
Flair is coming to AEW. I'm pretty convinced of it. I'd be surprised if he didn't show up at some point soon.
Maybe he'll come out to challenge CM Punk. CM Punk will be cutting a promo. They're like, Ric Flair will come out. It's like, I'm tired of guys like you.
Imagine.
Like, what's going on? Like,
that'd be great.
On Dynamite, Flair versus Punk. It's like, what?
Doug Hepburn says Rick, Arn, Tully, and who would be?
Oh.
They could bring in they could bring in Barry Windham. Where's Barry?
Or just make Cody a 4th horseman.
Wasn't Sid a horseman at one point? Where's Sid? How about Lex Luger?
Isn't Malenko with AEW?
Malenko was a horseman.
They could bring out Mongo, for some nice pop.
Isn't Mongo?
He's not in great health, but if he's able to make it in front of a crowd, to be, just stand out on the stage and go 4.
With J.J. Dillon too, good God Almighty, they got a lot of.
They don't have access to the music.
They got so many of the pieces there for the 4 horsemen.
They probably can't say 4 horsemen.
I think they can.
They could probably go like this, but they can't say 4 horsemen.
Well, no, because it was before WWE.
They might have I don't know, I don't know how copyrights work. Like, if in a wrestling context you can't say 4 horsemen.
They are the 4 horsemen. WWE can't take that away from them.
The horsemen.
Mesa T-Bar beat Mustafa Ali and Mansoor. Mustafa is from Chicago, got a decent pop when he came out, and then got beat up and lost the match, and then got double chokeslammed after the match, just to let you know that you will be treated terribly if you're in your hometown. Mace is pretty good, man. Dominic Dijakovic, he wrestled a really good match.
Hell of a talent.
He's fantastic. He's very talented, yeah.
Huge, quick, just... Oh, no, wait. He's T-Bar.
Is he T-Bar?
Mace is Dio Madden.
Okay, well, the T-Bar then.
Yeah.
He's very good.
He has such a terrible name.
Yeah, and a terrible look right now.
Yeah,
the gimmick is not very good. But Dominic Dijakovic is a hell of a wrestler, and he looked really good again tonight. He looked good last week. He looked good again. hopefully they
repackage him, just disappear him for a few weeks and then just repackage him.
Let's take care of him, Yeah. Do something with him because he's talented. But see, when they have guys like that who are so good and all you need is a slight repackage, and I'm sure he costs like a quarter of what they paid Bray Wyatt.
If that.
You know what I mean? Like, you kind of get it. There's a lot of talent in WWE, and there's a lot of turnover in pro wrestling. It's the nature of the beast. It sucks when anybody loses their job, but with Bray Wyatt, like, a lot of people were freaking out, like, how could WWE do this? And I just thought, like, well, I feel worse for the kind of lower-end guys that, like when Everrise got released, it was like, man, those guys are trying really hard. They weren't, they're not set for life. They're not millionaires off WWE.
Not at all.
You know what I mean? And there was no real reason for WWE to let them go other than, they're going to clean house. It's like, why not keep them around a little bit more? Give them a second contract, like, and maybe give them a shot on the main roster a bit at some point, just so they can get that shine and go back on the indies and have a bigger price tag for themselves. You know what I mean? Like, that, to me, the people that don't really get a shot, I feel bad for. But the guys like Bray Wyatt, who got to wrestle The Undertaker at WrestleMania and made millions of dollars in WWE, it's like, well, he had a good run, and I'm sure AEW will pick him up and he'll be just fine. But the outrage that I saw online...
Oh, yeah. People are really upset.
Very surprising.
More than, like, other releases I've read about. Like, people really... like this guy. It's just like, and it's amazing.
Mike Bennett, right? The Maria and Mike, right? They fired Maria while she was pregnant, or she had just given birth, or something.
And Mike said, like, was dealing with like substance issues.
Like, it was not.
They're vulnerable.
It was not. And they're mad, and you get that. You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of a shitty situation. Like, sometimes
Mickey James got her stuff sent back in a trash bag.
Exactly. Like, there are bad situations, but some, and okay, some WWE talent are now worried because if Bray Wyatt can get fired, anybody could get fired. But that's wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can get fired. It's the WWE. That's your contract. That's the contract that you signed. It's one way. They can let you go whenever they want. You know this when you sign it. You don't have a no-cut clause. As much as, it might be nice for the wrestlers to get that, they all know the game. I mean, they've all seen it happen to their friends. Over the past few months, they've been seeing it a lot.
Yeah. That's the nature of the beast, like you said.
Yeah.
And Bray Wyatt probably cost a lot of money, and he wanted to stay at home a lot more, and he has I think he'd go on Twitter and like brag about how much he's spending on JoJo and like buying horses and stuff. And
did he do that?
I thought he did that. Like,
I don't think he bragged about it.
I thought someone kind of like said something about how you have kids from your first marriage, and he's just like, hey, I'm Devin, I'm rich, I'm
He had there
was kind of like. He was throwing some money around, so he has a bit of like a kind of complacent act. Like, that's why I'm surprised people are so sympathetic towards it, because he's very hard to sympathize with.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for him. His dad was a famous wrestler. He's had a pretty easy way of getting into the wrestling business and becoming a famous wrestler, and the company pushed him very well, and they gave him a lot of money in very good spots. I don't shed tears for Wyndham Rotunda. There are far more sad cases in wrestling than his.
Yeah.
So the outrage from the wrestling audience, a lot of the Bray Wyatt super fans, surprising to me. Surprising. Yes, anybody can get let go just because you like him. I mean, there's a lot of fans of Bray Wyatt, I suppose, and they're sad that he got released. But look, I don't know. Maybe I've been in it for too long and I'm jaded, but I've seen a lot of some of my favorite wrestlers get released over the years. And
unceremoniously.
It happens, man, but they always come back around. The good ones stick around. It happens. I'm more disappointed Fandango got released and never really given a shot.
Tyler Breeze.
Yeah. Douglas Hepburn dropping a super chat saying Chariots of Fire. I'm not really sure why.
The movie? It's about Running or something?
I don't know.
Okay.
Angelo's still the super chat leader. Doug, I did not understand what that reference was for, but we appreciate the super chat. We appreciate you supporting the Ringside Report Network. Tamina beat Doudrop. Doudrop actually lost. I think this is her first loss.
Yeah.
Tamina beat her after a Samoan drop. Doudrop got distracted by Eva Marie, who gave her bad advice. She said, give her a crossbody, and then she missed the crossbody and got hit with the Samoan drop. And then Alexa Bliss got on the big screen and laughed at them after the match. And then later on, Alexa Bliss was in her playground talking to her doll, Lily. And then Doudrop and Eva Marie showed up. Doudrop attacked Alexa. And then Eva said some stuff, and they walked away. And then Lily, the doll, stood up on her own with some creepy music. So Alexa and the doll still doing their thing.
Yep.
Okay.
Anybody can be fired.
Even the doll. Can we fire the doll?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think with this Bray Wyatt thing and the fact that Randy's not around, it's just, I really wonder what they're going to do, because he's one of those guys where it's like, okay, we could figure him into our plans going forward. We could do stuff with him. Or
just cut him loose.
You know, we could figure out what to do with Randy. And why didn't he show up tonight?
Yeah, it's weird.
It seemed like this was the spot for him to show up. The fact that he wasn't there tonight.
And that factored into AJ not being there, and then what is their SummerSlam match going to be? You know, that's a big business decision, you know? That's, you know. There's
still time, I suppose. There's Raw in Orlando. There's Raw in San Antonio. Maybe Randy has COVID.
Why wouldn't they say?
They don't say.
They don't, eh?
WWE does not release that information. When Jeff Hardy has COVID. That's why he's not around.
He announced it himself.
He didn't announce it himself. The place where he was doing the signing, they announced it. But it wasn't WWE that announced it. WWE doesn't tell you when anybody has COVID, unless you're like Drew McIntyre, WWE champion at the time, and then you do a promo about it. But most of the people that had COVID, they kind of went away and then came back, and nobody said anything about it. So it's possible Randy has COVID, and that's why he's not been around. But he's not been around for a long time.
Hopefully he's okay.
Could be bad COVID.
I mean,
I don't know. If he's not vaccinated, who knows? It could be real bad. And even if he is vaccinated, I guess it could be real bad. I'm not really sure.
Although his wife's pretty active on social media, you feel like she would say, if Randy was in the hospital, I feel like somehow it would get out.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to say I don't know what's going on.
But it's just it's just weird.
I'm trying to come up with a reason as to why Randy Orton isn't on TV. And the fact that it's like, okay, he's taking time off. He's Randy. It's what he does.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, they're back on the road now. It's August, first August Raw. SummerSlam's a couple weeks away. Like,
in normal circumstances, it would be the time for Randy to come back or someone to come back. And,
yeah.
You know,
the fact that he wasn't there tonight in that spot with
cycle.
Omos, and then Riddle just loses clean. It felt like they advertised the match, Riddle and Omos. They thought Randy was going to come. They were going to do the AJ Styles thing, and Randy was going to save, and then they were going to off and running for SummerSlam. But Randy didn't show up, so they just said, oh, well, fuck it. Just have Omos beat. Because, I mean, it's not like Riddle's going to beat Omos. Omos hasn't left his feet. Omos isn't losing shit. So it's like, okay, well, what do we do? We'll just have Omos beat him.
Yeah.
Because it didn't really make sense, because Riddle has been pushed too strong to just lose the way he did to Omos tonight. But I think they were caught in a jam, so they just said, fuck it, Randy's not here. Have him lose to Omos.
Yeah, it could have been a late-time decision.
It was a weird one. It was a really weird one. Yeah, Keith Lee was on the show tonight. He wrestled Karrion Kross. That match was all right.
A couple of nice exploder suplexes.
Yeah, that suplex that Kross did to Lee into the steel steps was amazing. Keith Lee beats Karrion Kross tonight after the Spirit Bomb. The crowd was really into Keith Lee. when Keith Lee was stuck in that choke of Karrion Kross, the crowd was like, Keith Lee, like really.
Yeah, it was really loud.
They did not want him to lose. Keith Lee is big time over. That was really good to see how into Keith Lee they were, and he's really talented. So I'm happy that the crowd was really into it, because Keith Lee, since he's come back from his mysterious disappearance, like he's another one who disappeared for no reason in particular. Very
those weird
mysterious,
tweets.
Those weird tweets. I don't know, but he came back like 3 weeks or 3 weeks ago. His first match he lost to Bobby. And then his second match, he lost last week to Karrion Kross. And then this week, he wrestles him again. And you think, okay, well, he's got to win. And he does. So Keith Lee wins. It's just like you've kind of introduced 2 new characters on Raw, and Keith Lee and Karrion Kross. And they're 1 win and 2 losses since you've brought them in. It's kind of weird that, you're trying to build Keith Lee off Karrion Kross, who you're also trying to build. Nobody really gets built, especially with that kind of back and forth 50-50 booking that they tend to do. Mm-hmm. So Lee getting the win tonight, good for Lee. He needed it. He can't go 0-3. But then again, Karrion Kross doesn't look that intimidating, because so far what we've seen from the NXT champion is he lost to Jeff Hardy when Hardy cheated with the foot on the ropes, but he still lost, got pinned. And he beats Keith Lee last week, and Keith Lee, just basically got beat by Bobby Lashley with no interference, just loses. So, Lee is quite a few steps below Bobby Lashley, right? And then Karrion Kross beats him, so it's like, yeah, all right, Karrion Kross, you're all right, but you can't beat Jeff Hardy. And then here this week, Keith Lee beats Karrion Kross, and it's just bad because Karrion Kross is booked as this unstoppable monster in NXT, and then when he comes up to Raw, he's, quite beatable. He really has not looked good on Raw.
Yeah, he
Keith
just looks
Lee
like
looks
another
better
guy.
than Karrion Kross,
Yeah,
right?
Karrion Kross looks like he could easily be a jobber in 4 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't look that impressive.
No.
I think in NXT, because everybody's so small, he looks more impressive.
Yeah, when you're wrestling Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole.
Yeah. You look like the big guy, but here he did not look like the big guy.
Yeah, not against Keith Lee.
He looked medium-sized.
Keith Lee's a I feel like Keith Lee's a guy, so how sometimes guys don't look that big on TV, but then they look huge in person? Keith Lee looks huge on TV, and I imagine in person it's like Mark Henry.
Oh, yeah.
He looks like his shoulders are just like this barrel chest.
He's a beast.
I imagine when I I'm able to see Keith Lee, I'm gonna be very awestruck by him.
Yeah. No, he's an impressive man.
Yeah.
He's a big, thick dude. Strong looking.
Yeah.
So he won, it was nice. It was a good finish because the crowd was really into it. The match itself was all right, but it was probably the best men's match of the night. Not much competition. We had Damian Priest versus John Morrison.
Yeah, let's get into that.
Which was, fine, I guess. There was a big, long promo with Miz and Morrison and Damian Priest before that. The crowd was chanting CM Punk during that, too.
That joke Damian Priest did about the Miz's nuts or something.
Oh, yeah. He was like, Miz, I don't think you're in a wheelchair because of your leg. I think it's something between your legs. And it's like,
what does that mean?
I don't know if anybody ever got into a wheelchair for a dick injury, but
it's just like testicular cancer.
Yeah. Is Miz dying?
That's not something to joke about, Damian.
He was also saying, are you ever going to get back in the ring? What does he know about Miz? Anyways, he beat up Morrison a bit, and then he started spraying Miz with those drip stick things. Oh, yeah. And Miz had 5 of them in his little bucket that he has attached to his wheelchair. And Damian Priest has one of the drip sticks, totally misses and kind of sprays the Miz. And Miz is supposed to get wet, so he does a good job of taking the drip stick out and just holding it so Priest can take it out of his hands. He was basically just take and spray him, and then Miz grabbed another one. Priest took it out of his hands, sprayed him. He was just handing him dripsticks to spray him with. It was very obvious. Yeah. It looked pretty dumb, but it got the job of getting Miz wet, I guess. Damian Priest then beat John Morrison via pinfall with this choke slam type move, and then Sheamus attacked Damian Priest after the match, and then Ricochet made the save. We go to commercial break. It's a tag team match.
Big surprise.
Nobody cares, man. We just want to get over this thing. We don't want to see Damian Priest and John Morrison double booked. And adding Ricochet and Sheamus certainly doesn't make it more interesting. And then Damian Priest and Ricochet beat Sheamus and John Morrison. with the exact same finish. Damian Priest hitting his chokeslam thing on John Morrison for the pinfall. It was like, we just saw this. Why did we have to sit through all of this? This was one of the low points of Raw. This was the lowest point of Raw.
Oh, yeah. It totally dragged, made the show a lot slower, made me feel sleepy. Although I just had an idea when you're saying all those names. There should be a tag team. Ric and Sheamus.
Ricochet?
Ricochet and Sheamus. Like, you know, they always were doing those, like, you know, this. I'm surprised they never did Ric and Sheamus.
But they weren't together.
I know, but it's an idea. Because it rolls off the tongue. Ric and Sheamus.
How about Morrison and Sheamus? Momus.
And, like, put Momas in this? Momas.
Oh. Momus. Momasmas. Oh, that's the trio that WWE needs to make. John Morrison, Omos, and Sheamus. Momasmas. Just so I can get a t-shirt that says Momasmas.
Happy,
all right.
Merry Momasmas to you all.
We're going to make the Val Venus shirts and Momasmas t-shirts. Momasmas.
Draw them like they're all combined as some like weird alien creature.
Harold Schneider says, really liking the Monday Night Energy with two Simons. Two Simons are always better than one. That's what Doug Hepburn says. Two Simons are better than one. Doug and Harold dropping the super chats. Appreciate you guys. Angelo says Miz has a torn ACL. That's why he's in a wheelchair. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
it's not his penis. It's not a penis injury.
What did Maurice do?
She's from Quebec. You know?
It's a different energy here.
We're wild over here, baby. We got the type of women that might give you a penis injury, all right? It's crazy over here. You got to be careful. You don't want to get a penis injury. It's not. That's the last kind of injury you want.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I mean, I don't want like an eyeball injury would suck. A neck injury is also bad. Heart injury?
Or stomach, you know.
Oh. But a penis injury, man. Forget about that. Forget about a penis injury. Okay. What the
worst body parts to get it.
Poor Miz and his penis injury. Miz has a broken penis. He broke his penis tonight on Raw. That's why they call it a drip stick. You know, that's what happened. Reginald beat Akira Tozawa to retain the 24/7 title. Did a bunch of flips, and Tozawa said ninja stuff, and that was that.
And,
man. Who gets the match with Alexa Bliss? Doudrop or Eva Marie? I guess Doudrop. She does all the wrestling.
Yeah, although I can see them putting Eva in the spot for SummerSlam. You know, it's a big enough stage. You know, be like, oh, Eva Marie's gonna wrestle. You know, get like pretty big heat. I could see Eva and then like Doudrop like interfering to give Eva the win. Because like she hasn't really. I mean, she kind of wrestled last week a bit, but she hasn't really. So I could see her getting the spot at SummerSlam. She's more the focal point.
I can't believe that somebody Doudrop who beat Asuka and Naomi by herself, clean, beat them both, just squashed them, lost to Tamina tonight.
Yeah. I guess Natty getting hurt really threw a wrench into whatever they were planning.
Yeah, Natty's hurt. Natty had surgery on her ankle, but they're still tag team champions, so I guess she's going to come back at some point.
I guess so, and they figure no sense dropping the belts. There's nobody really to drop the belts to.
I like Natty. I hope she's back soon. Thank you to everybody dropping super chats tonight. I think that's it for Raw. Is there anything else that happened that we didn't talk about? Drew and Veer Venis and Wanky Shanky. Veer Venis shirts are coming, and maybe Wanky Shanky as well.
I don't want that. I don't know.
You don't want a shirt that says Wanky Shanky on it?
Yeah, it's a bit hard to explain.
It's like a white
Veer
shirt.
Venus isn't easy to explain. But
white shirt, just black letters. Wanky Shanky. What is that? Don't ask questions. That was it. That was Raw tonight. Yeah. We watched it. We liked it.
Yeah.
It was not so bad.
Not so bad.
It's better watching Raw with you than by myself, I guess.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Can have a laugh.
I think this show is better, too. People are sick of just hearing me. They want to hear your opinion as well. You know what I mean? It's more fun. It's more fun to do a show with somebody sitting right here, especially you. This guy is pretty good. We're always talking shit about wrestling, and I never figured people would want to watch us talk shit about wrestling. And here we are, people
Talking
watching
shit.
us talking shit about wrestling, and we appreciate you, each and every one of you. We love it. We love that you guys are with us here on a Monday night after Raw.
We got time for a quick movie review.
You want a movie review?
I saw Jungle
All right.
Cruise.
Well, this is what I'm going to do. It's a super chat. Lead right now is Angelo. I think Doug is close to the lead. I don't know if he wants to take the lead, but this is your last chance here to take over for Angelo. I know there's battles sometimes, so if you want to do the battle, you can do it now. This is your warning. We're going to do the movie review.
I can do a quick movie
you
review.
Saw Jungle Cruise.
Starring Dwayne The
Angelo-
Rock Johnson.
Angelo's still in the super chat lead, but of course Doug Hepburn is in the mix. Harold Schneider is in the mix as well for the super chat lead. Patrick C. Hamilton as well. So if you want to drop super chats, now is the time. And Angelo also asking a question. Who's the older sibling? Oh, damn it!
Really?
And my dad dropping the
truth.
the truth, which I didn't want you to do. I wanted people to guess because people never know.
It's the beard. It's the
Because
beard.
he's got the beard and everything. I can't grow a beard like he can. But yeah, I'm almost 5 years older than him. I am the older sibling, but I don't look it, right?
Got that baby face.
Hey? Huh?
Yeah.
I don't look like I'm 5 years older than him, do I? How about it? Muscle and fitness over here. All right.
All right,
tell
so
me.
Jungle Cruise.
The Jungle Cruise.
New
starring
Disney movie
Dwayne Roxon.
based off a classic Disneyland attraction. First opened with the park in 1955.
Disney history.
Yeah, a little bit. The idea, you're on a boat and there's like a skipper telling really corny jokes as you go by animatronics of different animals. And they thought, hey, let's make this into a 2-hour action adventure movie with The Rock.
Yeah. Why?
Well, it's just the success of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and they've been trying to make more theme park rides into movies.
So what's the story of this movie?
The story of the Jungle Cruise is Emily Blunt, fine actress in her own right. She's pretty good in this. Her and The Rock had a lot of good chemistry.
Smokes a lot of blunts, right?
Potentially.
Isn't she married to Jim Halpert?
She's married to Jim Halpert, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Those Quiet Place movies together. So she's like a researcher, like an Indiana Jones kind of type, like a scholar who gets to do adventures. She's looking for like a flower that can like cure diseases or something.
Doug Hepburn dropping a super chat. He says, going for the gold. He's going for it. I don't know if he's taking over, but go on.
And so she goes to Brazil. And in Brazil, nobody speaks Portuguese the entire time.
What?
Yeah.
Everybody speaks English?
Yeah, English or like Spanish.
Do they sound like...
Oh, she said obrigada at one point.
Do they sound like, Vanderlei Silva speaking English?
No. I was disappointed in that.
So they didn't have Brazil English
No.
accents, but it's in Brazil.
Yeah. And The
nobody
Rock is
speaks
there.
Portuguese.
The Rock is there as like a jungle cruise skipper. Like he gives chartered tours of the Amazon. And that's
Okay.
where the Jungle Cruise kind of theme comes in. And he
Okay.
gives really corny jokes as he does it.
Yeah.
And he does actually. There's like a little thing that worked well with his wrestling. Like on his tours, he would like spring traps. Like he would like to like wow his audience. So he was working over his audience. There's like a few, or like he would have a jaguar come and he'd fake a fight with it, and you thought it was real, but then you found out like it was a work. So there's like a lot of like wrestling kind of in it.
Okay.
It was kind of interesting, like a little bit of The Rock's wrestling. And so The Rock agrees to take Emily Blunt to like find this like magic flower, and like find like cursed conquistadors and
The conquistadors.
there's
are in
like
this?
there's like a German guy who's
Edge and
like
Christian
not a
dressed as
Nazi
conquistadors.
but like kind of a Nazi who wants the flower also. It felt very much like very Indiana Jones or the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies. It felt like, or like Pirates of the Caribbean. So if you like those kind of movies, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot better than it had any right to be.
People seem to like it.
Yeah, it was fun. Like, because it's not like even though it's based on something, it still feels kind of original, which is like hard to find in movies nowadays.
Yeah.
And The Rock does really well in jungle movies. Like the Jumanji movies are
Rock's
fun.
really good in the jungle.
Like the Jumanji movies are fun,
Okay.
The Rundown, that movie he did like years ago with like Christopher Walken and Sean William Scott.
I haven't seen any of these.
The Rock,
Jumanji, Rundown.
The
never
Rock
seen that.
does really well when he's in like a jungle setting because there's like adventure. Because like he's not the most dangerous thing there, but he's still dangerous, so it adds that kind of element to it. He works really well there, and
I saw it got like very high rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Like people that saw this movie seem to really like it, which is surprising. I'm surprised that you liked it. Why? How is it?
It's not my favorite ride.
Terrible. It sounds so bad. Doug Hepburn says going for the gold, trying to be the leader in a super chat, but then Angelo dropping a super chat saying try again. Angelo often the super chat leader. He may be the super chat leader here tonight, but I agree with Jason Pete, a member of the team. He says that sounds like a really bad movie. I agree.
Yeah, the way I'm
Sounds
saying
terrible.
it. Yeah, but it was.
You are not selling this movie to me. But
The magic flower part, doesn't suck because every one of these movies has like a thing you're searching. It's called a MacGuffin.
This is why I don't like movies.
Yeah.
I
have this key. The key leads to a map, which leads to a treasure room. So
the Woodstock 99 documentary that it was on HBO or HBO Max or whatever on Crave, tremendous.
It was okay.
I really liked it.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, but you're younger than me, and like in 99, you were 9 years old, okay? I was 14. It's a different story, okay? When you're 14... and when you're 9, it's different. And like for 14-year-old me, Woodstock 99 was the shit. Korn, Limp Bizkit, all that stuff. Like, so it was like great nostalgia for me. Mm-hmm. Like, this was my era of like being in high school, and that's the music we listened to. DMX, Limp Bizkit, Eminem, that type of shit, you know? So I loved it. I love that Woodstock documentary. I thought that was great. It was really fun to watch.
I thought it was good, yeah. Shining light on like how like lousy the organizers were. Like I felt like more of the blame that Woodstock 99 was a lousy festival was because of the poor organizing. It wasn't because like Limp Bizkit was scary.
Everybody wants to blame Fred Durst. It was not Fred Durst's fault at all.
He didn't, you know.
Patrick C. Hamilton says he saw it. Jungle Cruise, love the movie. Dropping a super chat, and with that, Patrick C. Hamilton takes over from Angelo as the new super chat leader, representing from Saskatchewan, as Brian Firth is saying as well there. Thank you, Patrick. Yeah. The new leader.
It was a lot of fun. Like, I was surprised. Like, I was watching it, and I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of fun. And there's a good cat. Paul Giamatti has a little part in it. Love me some PG. He plays this Italian guy. At one point, he says marron.
Okay, yeah.
The Rock. The Rock is very charming.
Yeah. You know. I don't know. I gotta say, I will never see this movie.
I mean, maybe, Zev will want to watch it on Disney Plus.
It's not my kind of movie.
No.
You gotta watch this White Lotus. Anybody watching White Lotus on this HBO? Goddamn tremendous. This show, it's like a limited series, 6 episodes. They dropped episode 4 yesterday. It was crazy. Crazy. There was an ass-eating scene that you cannot believe. When that shit happens, you're like, what? What? It's just the crazy. Oh, it's crazy. Oh, it's crazy. No, you got to see it, man. It is insane.
Sounds like some Johnny North entertainment.
No, it's not. I don't know if Johnny would like this show. This show it's funny. It's suspenseful. It is.
I like Mike White.
Everything. I'm telling you, this White Lotus show. I really hope it has a good finish. I hope it's got a nice ending to it. There's 2 episodes left. I don't know how it's all going to tie together. I really hope it ties together in a nice little bow. If it does, it's one of the best fucking shows I've ever seen. It's so fucking good.
HBO,
Oh my God.
HBO's the best.
The White Lotus, I cannot recommend that show enough. It is fucking excellent. You want to talk about top level entertainment? That is some top level shit. God damn. Watch it. You haven't seen it.
I'll check it out.
You got to see it.
I've been meaning to.
I'm telling you, once you watch the first episode, you're going to be hooked. It is fucking good. And that's what I've been watching.
So, I've been watching Succession again, of course.
Yeah.
Getting ready for season 3.
What else I've been... Yeah, that's about it. The Shy, season finale of The Shy happened. Season 4, I watched that. That was pretty good. Franco wants to know what White Lotus is about. Yeah, I think I just said how good it was. I didn't really say it. It's about a bunch of people staying on a resort in Hawaii. And their lives and all sorts of stuff going on. Somebody has died. Somebody dies at the beginning of the show. You don't know who. You don't know how, you don't know what happened, but somebody has died. And also there's a guy who's there, not with his fiance, who he's on the trip with, and he's at the airport, so you wonder, what the fuck happened here? Did she die? What's going on? It's really weird. I don't know how it's all going to tie together. But they're on an island in Hawaii, and they have different experiences and their relationships and the family. There's a family. There's a married couple. There's a woman there to a rich lady there to.
Isn't Jennifer Coolidge?
Yeah, that's who. She's a rich lady who's there to spread her mother's ashes. Her mother just died. And they all have their stories, and it's fucking
different
good.
Episodes focus more on different people.
No,
or it's just
it's all together. And then there's the
yeah.
hotel concierge guy, the kind of manager of the hotel, and he's a fucking character. Fuck, man.
What is it with hotel concierges making for great characters? You got your Tim Curry.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, this guy,
Ralph Fiennes in Grand Budapest Hotel.
This guy Armand in fucking White Lotus. Holy shit. This guy is something else. You got to see this guy, Armand, in fucking White Lotus. Tremendous. Tremendous character. Who is this fucking guy? I want to give a... Armand White Lotus. Who's this actor? You probably know who he is. Armand. Murray Bartlett. You ever seen this guy before? Who is this fucking guy? Is he Australian, I think? He's Australian. Tremendous.
Oh, he's going to be in the Last of Us series.
What's that?
It's a HBO series coming up based on a popular video game series I played.
Yeah.
The really dark one, with the zombies,
He was in an episode of Flight of the Conchords.
Oh, yeah?
He played Mark in Sally Returns.
Oh, that's the Nancy from Peep Show, when she has a Australian fiance.
Oh, it's this guy.
Yeah.
Well, he is in this show, and he is goddamn excellent. Shout out to Murray Bartlett as Armand, killing it in this fucking show.
Killing it, Murray.
Killing the game, Murray. You are the man, Murray Bartlett.
Present.
And what's his name too is also very fucking good in this. Everybody's good in this, but that guy from Treme that I really like.
Was the guy I named?
Yeah.
The guy who was also in The Office?
No, that guy's really good too.
Jake Lacey.
And Daddario, his wife in the movie in the show is really good too. Everybody's so good.
I'll check it out.
Zahn.
Oh, I love Steve Zahn.
He's in this, and he is goddamn
Steve Zahn
tremendous.
is fucking solid.
Steve Zahn is so good. There's an honesty to his work.
Very natural.
He feels like a real person in every role that he's in. He was so good in Treme, and he's so goddamn good in White Lotus.
Yeah, I like Steve Zahn.
His wife, I don't know what the name of the actress is, but she is so fucking good in this show, too. She's so believable as a tech CEO woman. Very fucking believable. And the daughter is
CEO?
Tech
Tech CEO. I thought you were try Texas-y, Texio.
She's a Texio.
She's from some part of Texas.
Tech CEO.
Tech CEO.
All right, we're veering off the subject of wrestling here.
Oh, yeah.
Doug Hepburn drops a super chat, and so Patrick C. Hamilton was a super chat leader, and then Angelo dropped a super chat to take the lead again, and now Doug Hepburn just dropped a super chat. And he says, Nick wants to know what your favorite Mike Myers movie is.
Well, I could talk for hours.
I mean, probably Wayne's World.
I mean...
Are we talking about Mike Myers, the Halloween guy? Or
no,
Mike Myers, a Canadian actor?
Like Austin Powers.
Oh, not Austin. Probably Wayne's World. The first one.
Yeah, for me, it's either Wayne's World or Spy Who Shagged Me. Austin Powers 2.
Yeah, Austin Powers was pretty good.
When that movie came out, that was a big deal. That was the first one with Mini-Me.
Yeah.
And, he travels through time and, yeah.
I love that Mini-Me, Vern Troyer.
He was at the Woodstock.
He introduced Limp Bizkit at Woodstock 99. You wanted the worst, you got the worst. Limp Bizkit. And it's Vern Troyer introducing him. It's so 99.
But the documentary presents it as kind of what's this weird sideshow thing?
It's Vern Troyer is one of the biggest movie stars.
That's what I'm saying.
Time.
They're not really realizing that was the apex of culture at that point. Mini-Me introducing Limp Bizkit was the biggest combination of things you could do.
It was amazing.
And they're not they're treating it whatever, what were we thinking back then? But no, that was
no.
That was the shit.
Yeah. Now you look back and you're like, who's this guy and what is this band? Yeah. But like back then it was like
I think we're watching the stream and we're like,
back
Mini
then
Me!
it's like, holy shit, it's fucking Mini Me. Everybody loves Mini Me. In 1999,
Yeah.
Austin Powers was the shit, and everybody loved Mini Me. If you were
People don't know.
If you were a kid or a teen and you were around in 1999, you liked Austin Powers movies and fucking Limp Bizkit, and that's just the way it was.
But yeah, I think Wayne's World,
Wayne's World to me is the best Mike Myers
It's
movie.
very funny. Dana Carvey,
we were
too.
talking about the Love Guru last week. I think that's why the question is there.
Yeah.
The Love Guru. That could be an inspiration for Veer
People
Venis.
love his movie, So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Yeah,
I think
I never saw
that.
that.
I saw like years ago. People like that when they say it's underrated. I mean, that's like most of, I mean, like, I never cared for Shrek.
Wasn't he in something recently that was good?
I mean, he had a bit part in the Bohemian Rhapsody movie, but nobody really liked that. He was in the documentary Sparks Brothers. I saw him in that, talking about the band Sparks.
Yeah, I don't know.
He had a bit part in Glorious Bastards, but you can't really call that a Mike Myers movie.
Yeah, I guess it's got to be Wayne's World.
Yeah,
Wayne's World.
Wayne's World is just so classic. It holds up.
I saw him in the Chris Farley documentary, and that's where I saw him last, and he was good in that.
I Am Chris Farley, yeah.
Wasn't it on a TV show or something? I guess
he had the Gong Show where he dressed up as like an English guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was weird. Like
that was weird. It was
Will
Arnett
show
was like the host.
No, I thought he was the host.
But Will Arnett was there. He was like it was like his production. It was like a Will Arnett production. I think.
Yeah, Mike Myers dressed up as like a British game show host and wasn't Mike Myers at all, and hosted the game show like he was just a game show host. I didn't understand why he did that at all.
He likes doing English voices.
It's got to be Wayne's World. I think if your answer isn't Wayne's World, you're just wrong.
Yeah, I mean, just so classic.
Yeah. Or Wayne's World 2, I guess, if you want to, because that was pretty good, too.
Wayne's World 2 was pretty good.
Wayne's World 2 might have been better than Wayne's World.
They had that scene.
Wayne's World that recently, but I remember...
Wayne's World 1 is the better movie. Wayne's World 2 has some amazing scenes.
But which one is, what's his name?
Christopher Walken?
No, not Christopher Walken. Rob Lowe.
That's Wayne's World 1.
Yeah, that was better. He's a good bad guy in that movie.
Yeah.
You hate him in that movie.
Yeah, you don't want him to take Cassandra.
Yeah, that movie's fucking good. Wayne's World is good.
Yeah, Wayne's World 2 though has that scene with like Charlton Heston. You know, like Wayne is in like the gas station. He's talking to a guy who's like a clearly bad actor, and he looks at the camera. He's like, "Come on, I know it's a small part. We could do better than this." Like a PA comes in, brings in Charlton Heston, and like makes him cry because he's so good.
It's a good fucking movie.
Yeah, just really good at breaking the fourth wall. Like really set the tone for like the 90s.
Good message too behind it, you know.
Yeah, small independence.
Trying to get co-opted by the man, and they're fighting back. It was good.
The director, like of the first one, Penelope Sphere, I think she co-wrote the script. Also, she made like punk rock documentaries and stuff, so she kind of brought that style.
Yeah, it felt good. You know, that's a good.
Mike Myers fought really hard to put Bohemian Rhapsody in there.
Good move.
Paramount really wanted Welcome to the Jungle.
Oh man.
But he's like, no, like I drove around listening to Queen.
Yeah.
Like this is what people do. And like it fit that like it still holds like I'm not a big fan of that song. I feel it's like super overplayed.
I feel like
but when I see it in the context of Wayne's World, it just makes me like I get it why that song's so powerful.
I don't know, because I was so young at the time when the movie came out, but I feel like that movie made that song popular.
It brought it back for sure. If it wasn't popular, like it probably wasn't seen as a big Queen song.
Classic scene.
Yeah.
When they're in the car singing the Bohemian Rhapsody, like
the headbanging, the Grey Poupon joke.
Oh yeah.
If you're gonna spew into this. The scene of the donut store with like the Ed O'Neill. As like the guy, as like he goes, he's like everything he says is like insane.
Yeah,
it's like why is it if you kill a man in the heat of battle, it's like it's fine, but if it's a crime of passion, it's murder.
That was Ed O'Neill.
Yeah,
Jiu-Jitsu black belt Ed O'Neill.
Badass.
All right, thank you everybody. We appreciate you.
That's Wayne's World chat.
That's it. That's
Party
all.
on.
We'll see you again, Angelo. You are the super chat leader. You did it again, Angelo.
You're a genius.
Again. Thank you, Angelo. Thank you to Doug Hepburn. Thank you to Patrick C. Hamilton out in Saskatchewan. Thank you to everybody. Harold Schneider.
Swing.
All the members as well. All the members. Doug, Jason, Patrick, Angelo, Franco. Everybody that's a member of the team. Harold. Brian, everybody supporting the channel. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. And I'll be back Wednesday night with Johnny North for some AEW Dynamite post-show action. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Do all the things. We'll see you again on Wednesday right here on the Ringside Report Network.